There's nothing I love more than a totally biased journalist having to tuck his tail between his legs because he effed around and everybody found out, and Kamala Harris called him out for it. Here he is attempting an apology tour.
I did make a mistake, and I want to say that I did make a mistake. When I called for a soundbite, I was expecting a piece of the enemy from within, from Maria Bartiromo's interview, to be tied to the piece from your town hall, Harris, where you asked the former president about the enemy from within. It just had the piece about the town hall, and just take a listen to what I meant to roll.
I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military.
Nobody for a second believes that he meant to play that, because that is the parts of Trump's speech and answers that Fox omits from his viewers being able to see it. He meant to do exactly what he intended to do, and Kamala called him out, and now he's trying to go on an apology tour. But just for our viewer and our listener, I want to play the part again right here where he says, "I made a mistake."
I did make a mistake.
I did make a mistake. I did make a mistake.
That should be played all the time on every news channel, because that was a huge, huge mistake. And he thought he could be a misogynist and steamroll over Kamala. And I am so glad that she did that interview on Fox, although I thought she was treated terribly by him. She held her own, and she showed everybody why she is where she is, why she is the vice president of the United States, because she is a very smart, skilled person.
What's interesting is Trump goes on and on and on about how she can't do an interview. She's incompetent. She's dumb. She's stupid. So the Fox News watchers have this caricature of her. So they get to see her and they're like, whoa, this is different. So she humanized herself. But what I also loved about the clip, when her response to Brett Barr and the enemy within comment and the wrong clip and all that, is she got to put in that the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, has said he is dangerous to the United States and he is fascist to the core. I read a report this morning that said Republicans who watch Fox News, who are so pro-USA, that was only the third time that they were aware that Mark Milley thinks Donald Trump is dangerous, because they have completely left that out of their news coverage. And I'm with you. Nobody on fucking planet Earth can believe that that was a mistake, because they play shit like that all the time. Sane washing, cutting off before Trump says anything, because they're actively rooting for him to win the election.
And it just shows how skilled she is as a candidate, and her campaign is as a campaign, that she came ready. She came with receipts. She was aware of the interview, the town hall that Trump did. She was aware of the way the question was posed to him, and she was aware of the way that he answered it. And they tried to do a gotcha, which they accused the left wing of doing all of the time. And it's not even left wing, it's corporate mainstream that they accuse. But I read this morning here on Twitter that Trump has canceled a CNBC interview, NBC interview, 60 Minutes interview. He's refused to participate in another debate. And bizarrely, he just canceled an NRA event.
I know. I thought that was so interesting.
And so I think I think his staff knows after the whole 39-minute bob around with the music situation that took place, they can't really trot him out. And Kamala is really hitting her stride.
Yes.
As the top of the ticket. She did a little trolling. Some MAGA people thought they would be real cute, neat, and fun, and showed up to one of her rallies. And here's how she handled it.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally. No, I think you meant to go to the smaller one down the street.
She trolls him so
It's
beautifully.
brilliant. And listen to this. You told me this yesterday, but I actually have the stats on it. Harris's interview on Fox, 7.1 million viewers. Trump on Fox yesterday, 3 million viewers. So over double the viewers for Kamala Harris. And these metrics shouldn't matter.
They shouldn't.
But they do to him.
Right.
And this is the perfect example of why he's so dangerous, because he's this easy to troll. The stats that I just read to you, the Harris campaign made into a little meme and posted it on Truth Social. That's how easy it is to get into his brain and occupy real estate. And that's why he's so dangerous, because Vladimir Putin knows this.
That's right.
Kim Jong-un knows this. Viktor Orban knows this, and any other fascist dictator around the world, they know this. The oligarchs in the Heritage Foundation who are in the United States of America know this, and that's why they've trotted out J.D. Vance, 40 years old, right there and waiting to replace him.
You know what else is so funny? So yesterday I was working on something and I was in a meeting and my phone is blowing up. Truth Social post. He had the meltdown of epic proportions yesterday on Truth Social because he is so mad that more people watched her than him. He is so mad that she did so well. And now he's bad rapping Fox News, saying that they're not fair and balanced. I'm like, all they do is suck your dick, dude. Come on. But he cannot take any criticism, which I think was a great point that Kamala Harris made in the interview. As the president of the United States, you have to be able to take criticism. I mean, period. As a grown adult, you have to take criticism. As an arrogant, pompous man-child, it's impossible for him to take criticism.
So to illustrate why he's canceling all these interviews all the time, he goes on Fox and Friends, and here is what he says. And I'm sure his advisors, whatever ones are saying there, are like, oh, shit, we have to keep canceling things because the general public, swing voters, and even moderate Republicans are seeing this. And I think it's driving voters to Kamala. Here's what he says on Fox and Friends.
It's not anything to do with school choice, also. Okay. But also, separate from school choice, we're going to take the Department of Education, close it. I'm going to close it. We'll have one person, could be you if you decide to retire.
Okay, Mr. President, here's what bothers
central casting.
here's what bothers me about that. So let's say you have a liberal city, let's Los Angeles, San Diego, and they just decide we're going to get rid of that history. We got new history. This is America built off the backs of slaves on stolen land.
Then
and that curriculum comes in.
Then we don't send them money. We would save half of our budget.
Okay.
All right, several things on this to unpackage in that clip.
It's a lot.
First and foremost, closing the Department of Education is not an issue in this election. It is an issue for Christian nationalists because they want full-blown Taliban in the United States. They want to do away with the separation of church and state, and they want to have religious schools, and they know the way to do that, to keep the electorate dumb, because everybody knows, as Donald Trump famously says all the time, I do great with the poorly educated. Right. So the man who brags about doing great with the poorly educated, there's a direct line that he wants to completely upend the Department of Education. This is insane. Rural America would completely crater. So many working class families and children who are raised in working class families rely on the public school system for their meals, for their education, for their daycare, etc. This is so off the rails, Heritage Foundation, yes, Christian nationalist ideas. This is not even remotely something that the American voters wants to do. This is what the controlling oligarchy wants, and they want the American public dumb, because look at who votes for Trump. Dumb people and racist. That's who remains. And so the second part of that is that this Fox guy says, what if they start teaching that this country was built off the backs of slaves on stolen land? Well, no shit, dipshit, right, because that's the truth.
That's history.
That's the truth.
Right.
That is the massive truth of this. All of the work that was done All of that money went to white people, which created a stepping stone for other white people and starts creating generational wealth. All the black people, the slaves that were completely, they were slaves owned by other people, did all of that work and received no pay for that. None. And so that's just abhorrent that is mainstreamed.
Right. Like, he's proud of it. Like, Trump says, oh, you could be the Department of Education person. Like, that tells you he doesn't give a shit. But I totally agree with you. That was as shocking as get rid of the Department of Education, because it's divorced from reality. But I want to reiterate your point. He says he's not into Project 2025. He's trying to distance himself. One of the very top policies in Project 2025 is to disband the Department of Education. It's as clear as the nose on my face. These two are one and the same.
No question. And you can look no further, viewer and listener, as to what's happening in red states like ours. We have a Christian nationalist governor. We have a cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, porn-obsessed superintendent of education, homophobic, named Ryan Walters, who every chance he can get acts like he's in this imaginary war with, quote unquote, the woke mob. He does a lot of videos from his car. I'll leave that to everybody else to look up and see. But he wants the Bible in every classroom in Oklahoma, and he's getting them. Of course, he's trying to buy the Trump Bibles to do it. And the 10 Commandments posted in every classroom. This is anti-American.
That's right.
This is Heritage Foundation crap. This is Taliban shit. This is the opposite of everything that the founders were trying to do. I believe it was Thomas Jefferson that had a problem with the Bible. And he made his own version of it that he carried around that was all about forgiveness and all of the good stuff. And he left out all of the crazy stuff. These Christian nationalists, they want all the hellfire and damnation. And they believe that it is a historical document.
Right.
Which it is not.
Right.
The choice is very stark, in my opinion. You can vote on the side of history, and we've all seen the videos of the white people that spit on black people.
That's right.
And hurl racial insults to them and hose them down with water hoses and all the shit that you've seen growing up. And in the MAGA movement, Trump goes to rallies and he sees Nazi flags there and he sees the Confederate flag, and you've never heard Trump or J.D. Vance say, absolutely not. There's no room for that in today's MAGA party. And his followers know this, right, and they acquiesce and vote for it. So this is different from any election I've ever been a part of in my life. And Kamala Harris is the only candidate that is truly promoting American ideals.
Absolutely right.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
It's so